Hello everyone, welcome back. I took out the Smith & Wesson MP15 Sport1 today. This is one of my first ARs. I think I bought this back in like 2010. And I wanted to do an accuracy test with this, with match grade ammo, with the magnifier, because I've been doing a lot of that recently, seeing where these rifles come in. So today, at first, I was shooting this at 100 yards. So at 100 yards with Federal Premium 77 grain bullets. I shot one group at 100 yards. The 3 holes here in the circle, that came in at 1.25 inches. And then I did another 3 shots, 1, 2, and then 3 up there. That also came in at 1.25 inches. Okay, so that's at 100 yards. So, you know, pretty consistently getting that 1.25 inches. Now I'm using a red dot. It's got a 2 MOA dot with a 6x magnifier. That's the, so that's the Holosun 503 CU, and then I got the Vortex 6x magnifier behind it. So when you magnify that 2 MOA dot with the magnifier, basically it balloons up to like the size of an orange, like that. So it's pretty big. It even looks a little bit fuzzy. So getting a perfect aiming point, I mean, obviously you can get good hits, but having an ACSS chevron with a fine tip is a lot better. Okay, so I imagine if I had a fine tip on this, I would have got even better accuracy. But then I said, let me take this out to 200 yards. Okay, so 200 yards. And notice I put the bullseye at the top of the paper because I know that the thing is going to go underneath it, and I wanted to allow for a little drop if it was going to do that. So at 200 yards, look at that, 1.5 inch group. Okay, so that's a 0.75 MOA, 3/4 MOA. Again, with this premium ammunition, I think that's damn good. Okay, now mind you, this is a rifle that I bought back in 2010. And the significance of that is that I don't know how long it had been sitting in the store, and obviously it was, it was made with the barrel, and the rifling was done with machines that were built, let's say, in the mid 2000s. Okay, so back then it's kind of funny, like people, especially a lot of the hunting guys, because remember back in like 2010, I mean, people were buying ARs, but they were not as popular as they are today, where like everybody's got one. So a lot of the guys would say, oh, the ARs, they're not even that accurate, and here's the thing, like back then when I would shoot this rifle, I was shooting it, with just target ammo. And first of all, when I first got it, I didn't even have a red dot. I didn't even get into that until later. So I was using just the iron sights. This came with a fixed front sight, and it came with a Magpul rear flip-up sight. And when I was shooting this, I was getting like 4 to 5, even 6 inches sometimes. So it's like, and you had the hunters saying that, hey, they got their bolt actions hitting, 1 inch at, 1 inch and better at 100 yards. So I'm like, okay, I mean, it is what it is. It wasn't until a couple of years later when I started shooting it with red dots, and the first ones were like the really cheap ones, right? Just because, it's like, for me, it was something that I kind of grew into, right? That was back then, I mean, they existed, but it wasn't so standard. So when I put the red dots on there, I noticed an immediate improvement. So even with the target ammo, I was starting to get like 3-inch groups pretty consistently, like with this type of junk like you see over here. And I did shoot this again today, and with the red dot, I got like a 4-inch group with this. Back then, like the premium ammo, like the good ammo, was the green tips, right? So so back then everybody who was shooting ARs was talking about green tips. So when I was shooting with the green tips, I would get like 3 to 4 inches. And again, you got like a lot of the FUDs were talking about how shitty the ARs were, right? With the with the 3 and 4 MOA groups. Okay, so I think a couple of years ago, like when I first got the I don't know, we're talking like 4 or 5 years. I'm losing track of the years, but several years ago when I got the Holosun 503 CU, nice crisp dot. I shot this and I was getting pretty close to 2 inches. So I'm again using target ammo, right? So I don't think I quite got to 2 inches, but maybe I was in like 2.5, something like that. In like 2.5 inches with just the red dot. And I'm definitely, you know, and that's with target ammo. And I'm saying, hey, this is, you know, with the optic, with a better optic, it's starting to shoot a little bit better. And lately, I've been shooting a lot of this premium 77 grain match ammo, and I've gotten some, like with the both Palmetto and Ruger, I've seen like half MOA groups. Yes, I've done the Radical, so I got a half MOA group on the Radical, and I said, you know what, let's pull out the old Smith over here, right, and let's run that out there, and let's put a magnifier behind it, some premium ammo. Let's see what we can get. You know, first shots at the two, you know, actually the first ones over here were at 100 yards. I mean, that's after I, you know, tested my zero with the target ammo. We're getting 1.25 inches at 100 yards. I went out to 200 yards, and I'm getting a .75 MOA. And after you know, I was going to do another group of 3. My plan was to do 2 groups of 3, and I'm like, you know what? This is good enough. I'm done shooting for today. Okay. You know, we're having a pretty lousy week with the elections. I'm like, you know, I'll take, you know, I'm gonna lock in my wins here. You know, so I stopped shooting after I got this. Right. So 0.75. I'm happy. Now, that has a 2 MOA dot, which basically balloons up to like the size of an orange. You know, when you're looking at it through the magnifier. So it kind of. So what I was doing is I was anchoring it underneath the dot. Right. So I was touching it underneath it. That's why I put it to the top. Now it is hitting a little bit high, okay. And when I came back to this one over here, because I did the same thing over here. I'm anchoring underneath it. So when I came back and I looked at this at 100 yards, yeah, it is a little bit high. It's hitting about 3.25 inches high. So after I got this group, I basically I went down 2 clips. Okay, so I went down, you know, I moved it down 1 MOA on that, you know, so because I'm putting my dot here and it's hitting just above my dot at 100 yards, you know, that's a little bit too hot, I think. So, so anyway, accuracy is good. It's interesting how, you know, even these older ARs from like 2010, right, built on the older machines, when you put the right ammunition in there, give it some premium ammunition. Give it a magnifier, and it is going to perform. Okay, I think that, I mean, it's just a lot more trouble to make a shitty rifle than to just make a good one and, you know, give it to everybody, right? Because again, the companies that build the rifling machines, I mean, they don't want to build 2 sets of machines, right? Shitty machines for the economy rifles and good machines for the premium rifles. They use the same machines, I think. I'm starting to get the impression that they use the same machines for everything, right? So whatever the name brand is on the rifle, I'm starting to get the impression that the barrels are gonna shoot about the same. Okay, unless they like screwed it up, because yeah, I mean, you could have a manufacturing error, right, where the machine, I don't know, something goes wrong while they're like rifling it out. I mean, that can happen. So you know, so unless there's a screw up when they're building it, you know, you should get a good shooting rifle regardless whose name is on it. So that aside, let's talk a little bit more about this. Again, this is a rifle that mostly sits in the safe. The reason this is a home defense rifle, and the reason why I use this as a home defense rifle is because I'm not too crazy about the fact that it doesn't have the forward assist. I'm not too crazy about the fact that it doesn't have a dust cover. So I'm like, you know what, let's keep this rifle mostly indoors, right? Also in home defense during normal times. I mean, you know, even if you're being invaded by a gang, I mean, how much shooting are you going to do? I mean, if you go through a whole magazine, I mean, you're probably, you know, during a home defense type of situation, I mean, you're going to probably set a record, right? You know, for a home defense type of shooting, okay? If you go through a whole 30-round magazine. So that's the reason why I picked this rifle. The other thing is because it's missing the forward assist, missing the dust cover, even in a home defense type of situation, the police are probably going to take the rifle until until the investigation is completed. So if I'm going to lose a rifle, I might as well lose this one, at least temporarily. Okay. So that's the other reason why I use this. Now, this isn't the only one, but this is one of them. Now, first of all, one of the things I'm realizing today after having not used this one in a long time is I absolutely hate this sling, okay? I am so used to the fast loop slings, right? And I just put this on temporarily so I can show you. So this was a decent sling that I was using for such a long time. But now that I've gotten used to the fast loop slings, I absolutely hate slings that aren't fast loop, because if you want to load this, right? If you want to load this, right, it helps if I can loosen up the sling at least temporarily so I can get underneath it. So let me show you guys what I mean. Let me take this sling off. Take this off. So that's one of the reasons, like, every once in a while it's good to go back and look at things and see if the way that you're doing it is the best way. And also, like, because this has been sitting in a safe for so long without me having shoot it, it gives me a chance for me to kind of compare the ideas that I have now versus ideas that I had, whatever, like 5-6 years ago. Okay. So with the fast loop sling, the nice thing about this is if I need to go into a high position so I can load a magazine, I can quickly undo that. That gives me just a little bit extra slack so I can get the magazine in, and then I can quickly tighten this up. Okay, and this is especially useful if you're going to throw this over your back. Because as I throw this over my back, I usually tighten this down, and that gives me a little extra tension. Okay, and then as I before I retrieve it, I usually loosen this up and swing the rifle around, and I'm able to come on target like that. Okay, so I've really gotten used to the fast loop sling. One of the things I've been doing, because this fast loop here is from Brash Tactical, they sell these economy slings. If you buy it with the hardware, it's something like $25. But they also sell it without the hardware, where it's just a sling and you put it yourself. And lately I've been doing that, because what I do is I buy the Brash Tactical slings without the hardware, and then I go back to these older slings that I no longer like anymore. And what I do is I cut out the hardware and I put it on the Brash slings. Okay, so you can see how that's not removable. You got to actually cut this out, right? And then once you cut this out, the rest of this is now garbage. I mean, you can try and salvage some of this stuff in case you need it, but once you cut it, this is garbage. So that's what I'm gonna do with this. I'm gonna get another one of these Brash slings, and that's gonna end up on this rifle, because this is something I keep at this location. So that's the first thing that came out today, is that I'm now so used to using the fast loop slings that if I'm using anything other than that, it's like I can't do the stuff that I need to do, right? Can't get into that high ready position unless I can quickly do that, then cinch this, and then if I want to use the sling like to stabilize the gun, I can wrap my hand around it like that, and I can, if it's not tight enough, I can quickly cinch it, right? So I'm so used to using these fast loop slings, and they're not expensive. Without the hardware, it's like $15. Okay, so that's the first thing that came out. The other thing that came out is I hate these lights. Okay, I hate these lights. First of all, the way I have it set up here is I have it set up on the quad rail. Now, obviously, this rifle came with the plastic grips on it, and I took them off and I put the quad rail on it, which added a little bit of weight to the rifle, but it's not so bad because it's only a 6-inch quad rail. So even though it adds some weight, it's not a whole lot, and it's not like it's an 8, because I had another one that was like 9 inches that came on a different rifle that came out to there. Really made it heavy. I took that off and went back to the plastic. At the 6 inches, this isn't terrible. So for now, it'll stay on there. But the reason why I have the light over here is because my idea with this is I'm going to operate this with my thumb if I need to. I have another one that looks just like this, where the light is on the other side with a pressure pad, and that's better. And I'm gonna do the same with this one. I'm gonna move the light, because if it's on the other side, right? Let me go lefty for a second. If it's on the other side and you're holding the gun here, that light is not in your way so much no more. So if you take a C-clamp, that light's not gonna bother you, and then you can work the pressure pad on top with your thumb over here. So that is a way better setup. The reason why I set up one with a pressure pad and this one without, the idea here was that, hey, if I needed to quickly take this off and move it to a different rifle, I could do that. Or if I needed to, I could also take this off and use it as a handheld flashlight so it's not attached to the rifle. That was part of the reason why I put it on here, because because this is like really easy to take off, right? You can just pressure tighten with your hands. So the idea is now with this is, now I've got a flashlight, a handheld flashlight, that I can use without pointing my gun at, pointing a gun at people. You need to, search outside or whatever. So that was part of the idea of why on this one I decided not to put a pressure pad, not to pressure pad this and zip tie this down, because once you pressure pad it, you gotta use zip ties, so it's not so easy on, easy off. But I really hate having this thing on here. As far as, if you're right-handed and you're holding it over here. So again, that's one of those. Oops. Just get you back on there. There you go. There you go. It's normally easy on, easy off if you get things in the right position. But there you go. So that was my mindset with this. Okay, so now I'm kind of reassessing how much I like that, because as I'm holding this with my right hand forward, this is I kind of really hate that. So it didn't seem to bother me so much a few years ago. Today it does seem to bother me now. On most of the other rifles that I shoot, what I do is, the ones that have a free floated rail, what I do is I take a pistol light and I just put that on the top rail, okay, and I work the pistol light with my thumb, and I can do that either way. And that's become a really convenient thing. Okay, now obviously I can't put the pistol light on top of this because the front sight post is in the way. Okay, so the pistol light, I mean, I can put it on the side, but it can't go on top. So putting it on top is something that works really, really good if you have an AR that doesn't have a front sight post over here. The only issue I have with the pistol lights is the ones that I use, the stream lights. They have the butterfly switch. It's really easy to hit them and have a negligent light discharge, where you accidentally shine the light when you don't want to. And in some instances, you may not want to give away your position. Okay, so that's the only issue with that. If I guess in a home defense situation where that really doesn't matter so much, I would probably just put the pistol light on top. It's your own house, so that's less likely to be an issue. If it's for a situation where you're moving around, sneaking, doing that kind of stuff, you're probably going to want to use the rifle light on the other side with the pressure pad on top, so that you make sure you don't have that negligent light discharge. Okay, so what else can we say about this? This is actually the first time since I ever owned this rifle that I took off the rear flip-up sight that this came with. This came with this on the rifle. Never took it off. And of course now I for the purpose of trying to see how accurate this rifle is, I needed the magnifier. I had to take this off. So that's the problem with the flip-up sights. They can be a problem. Now, one of the things that if you're gonna, because here's the thing, realistically speaking, okay, the magnifier is probably going to be something that magnifier is something that you're going to use if you're shooting at any distance. Okay, the flip-up sight is something that you're not likely to use unless the optic fails, and it's not likely the optic will fail, especially if you are solar powered with a battery backup. So one of the things that you may want to consider, and let's see, can I get on there now? No, I won't be able to get on there easily. But one of the things that you may want to consider is if you're going to have a magnifier, okay, and you feel that you need to have backup sights, put this thing right there, man, right there on this because it's a backup sight. Yeah, I know it's not ideal. All right, I mean, it's a bit, the distance from here to there is still more than most what pistols have, right? Even long barrel revolvers. All right, so if things really go bad to the point that your optic fails, you're probably you're not doing offensive, you're doing defensive stuff, right? You're trying to get out of there. So having this over here, flip, on the front, flip down, gives you the benefit of having a backup sight, but it also now allows you to have your, you can have the things that you're actually going to need, right? The things that you're actually going to need is, first of all, the optic, the red dot, the magnifier if you're in an open area, a light if you're basically, because basically wherever you are, the sun's going to go down at some point, it's going to get dark, or if you go indoors, you might need a light. So you do need a light, even if it's a pistol light that you put on and off as you need a place to put the light. So this is probably like the last thing that you're going to need. So for the last thing that I'm going to need, if I need this space over here, I would just put this here. Now the other option is, well, you could get one of these. Back years ago, they used to sell these with a quick detach. I don't see these anymore. I don't see rear flip-up sights that have a quick release. Because if you have a quick release, then you can just keep this in your pocket and then just put it on. Basically take off, because the magnifier has a quick release. It would be, at some point, I want to find a rear flip-up sight that has a quick release, so that I can swap it quickly in and out with the magnifier, okay? Because right now I need a tool to, this comes off easy, the magnifier comes off easy, but the rear sight, I need a tool to tighten this in. So that's why, if this is going to stay on the rifle, I would put it there, and it's going to work. I mean, you're going to hit a man-sized target at 100 yards with this being there, okay? And I know, yeah, people can say, oh, you bring it further back, better sight radius. Yes, but 100 yards, you're still going to hit the target, and it's a backup. The other thing is with this is a ghost sight. In order for this to ghost out, right, the way it's supposed to, it needs to be in the back near your eye. This is how this was designed. Okay, so that's how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be near your eye so that the rear ghost ring goes out. But again, for a backup sight, okay, you put it there, and it's gonna, it's not perfect, but you will be able to hit targets out to 100+ yards if your optic fails. Okay, so let me see, anything else? No, that's about it. So I got, the reason I got a 20-round magazine. 20-round magazines are very convenient if you're shooting benched, because they don't hit the table, so I use this a lot. Now also, these are also very convenient because these will fit in your back pocket completely, okay? So these are also great backup magazines like that, because they're small, compact, and you still got 20 rounds. So that's one of the reasons why I really like the 20 rounders, and I use these all the time. So let me know how you guys like the video, and I thought that this rifle did pretty damn good. At 200 yards, we got 1.5 inches, right? These 3 shots here, 1, 2, 3, and the bullseye there. Okay, and like I said, this is high for 200 yards. I did adjust it down 2 clicks, because this should have been impacting someplace over here, not way up there. But I can see from even in the 100 yards, I was high, because my bullseye is over here, so that's the top of my dot. So, well, the center of the dot's here, so from the center, I'm like 6 inches up. So yeah, so I definitely adjusted that down. So yeah, drop some comments below. Let me know what you guys think, and we'll talk again soon.